Hi, Tara Vossen-Kimper here, founder and clinical director of the Counseling Hub, practicing counselor slash therapist in the state of Missouri. So I have plenty of clients who come in and set their initial goal of wanting to be happier or feel peaceful or just feel better in general. And while I gently prod those clients to be a little more specific for me in terms of what does that look like for you in particular, I also am well aware that there is some data to back up specific practices and things we can do in our daily lives to increase our overall satisfaction with life, to increase our overall level of happiness. Some are pretty intuitive, some are pretty obvious, and some are a little less so. So I'm going to cover 5 specific things you can implement into your life right this second, right now, and they will likely increase your happiness level overall. So, number 1 is mindfulness/meditation. I'm sure you've heard just so much about this all the time, everywhere, and for good reason. So there's a lot of research to support that mindfulness and meditation is very good for our brain, very good for our well-being, very good for our connections with other people, that just overall it has a really positive effect. One of the ways that it helps is that it calms our brain down. It helps us disconnect from immediately reacting to situations. So, for example, if I'm cut off in traffic and I don't meditate, let's say I'm cut off in traffic, I am just overwhelmed with rage and anger. You know, F you, buddy, I can't believe you. And I'm flipping people off and I'm just driving erratic to catch up to the person who cut me off so I can cut them back off and just acting a little bit crazy, you know. If I am engaged in a meditative practice, maybe that happens and I realize that part of me feels angry, and then I also realize that I don't have to let that part of me control my whole day or control my future interactions or my driving in that moment. There's a level of distance between experiencing something or having a feeling and reacting to it. So when we don't meditate, we're pretty reactive, and when we do something like meditate, we are less reactive. We're more aware of what we're doing and how we're behaving. It's more of a conscious existence, so to speak. That's thing number 1, is meditating or having a practice of mindfulness in some way. And I mean, Google Andy Pudukombe. All you need is 10 mindful minutes. That's his TED Talk, and it's fantastic. The second thing I would say to do, or that research says that we should do, is kind of a combination of a few things. So one thing is to have fun, like to play, to have fun, to do things that feel alive, you know. If you have little kids, go play in the park with them. If it rains and you get stuck, just start playing in a puddle. I mean, to be lighthearted in some ways. I think that's what it comes down to. Some ways you can do this and some things that can help. I mean, having a social support, having friends, for example, those are, to me, they're all kind of related. So fun and play in combination with good friends, not friends who drain us, but friends who kind of fulfill us and have a general baseline of happiness as well. That's an important piece of it. And then also provide us with some level of social support. So if we feel connected to a group, I mean, our health is better overall, including our happiness. So that's thing number 2. So we have thing 1 and thing 2, like Dr. Seuss. Anyway, so we have mindfulness as our first thing, and we have friends/social support/play and fun as our factor number 2. As our factor number 3, altruism. So giving back in some way. This can look like volunteering. This can look like just paying it forward. I mean, maybe you drive through somewhere and you just pay for the next person's meal. It can be as simple as that. Maybe you put together non-perishable goodie bags for homeless folks who you pass on the street. Maybe you stop and help a little kid tie their shoe or something. I mean, I'd be careful with that because there's a lot of stuff with predators and all that, but maybe it's a little kid you know. Let's say that. A little kid that you know. You stop and help him tie his shoe or her shoe or their shoe, whatever. Just altruism in general, just giving back, period. It can help us get out of our head, basically. I think a lot of times we get caught inside of our heads, and then we have trouble stepping outside of that and seeing that there's other people and other lives and other things that exist in the world outside of our immediate perception and our immediate experience. So that's the third thing. So again, mindfulness is thing one. I just keep thinking of Dr. Seuss. Friends, social support, fun, and play, that's thing two. Thing three is a new Dr. Seuss character, is altruism. The fourth thing is gratitude. So this is absolutely something you could put into practice right this very second. Well, after you finish the video, but then right this very second. It's just so simple to do. Just get a little notebook, keep notes on your phone, whatever. Every day, either in the morning, I prefer at night because you have your full day behind you. List down or write down 3 to 5 things that you're especially grateful for. So the caveat is that when you're writing these things down, you actually want to try to cultivate that feeling of gratitude. So it's not like my car, my house, my friends, my dog, my cat, my partner, my job. It's not just writing things down. You want to actively think about something and try to feel that level of gratitude and try to really think, what is it about this thing that I'm especially grateful for? That person let me over in traffic today. All these traffic examples. That person let me over in traffic and I was running late and it was such a kind gesture. I'm just so grateful because then I got off on my exit that I needed to get off on. So whatever. I mean, that's a little more in-depth example. That's kind of what you're looking for, is something that you're, granted, some days are horrible, but you can still find something. Usually you can still find 1 to 3 to 5 things. I would say really 3 to 5 things that you feel grateful for. And again, you really want to try to cultivate that feeling of gratitude as you're writing down the things that you're grateful for. What happens is that throughout your day, you end up starting to look for the things rather than at the end of the night racking your brain thinking, what happened today? It just becomes second nature during the day that you think, oh, I can note that for later. Oh, that's great. Like I'm really excited or really grateful or really appreciative of whatever that thing that just happened was. That's thing 4. So again, we've got meditation / mindfulness. We have friends, social support, fun, and play. I would say all of those kind of go together. We have altruism, or giving back. A lot of volunteer work in there. We have, or volunteer work is tied up in there, right? We have gratitude. There we go. I was thinking, not altruism, I just said that. We have gratitude. That's our 4th thing. And the final thing, and this is the one that's a little more, I don't want to say abstract, but maybe a little bit different to hear. The final thing is that we want to not get caught up in this striving for happiness constantly, not get caught up in chasing happiness. Here's what happens when we start to do that, is that we, whenever we start to have an unpleasant feeling, and by unpleasant I mean something like we feel angry or we feel sad or we feel betrayed, whenever we chase happiness, we think, well, we can't have those. It's like we shut down all space for this really important part of life. And as much as we sometimes wish that those feelings weren't there, they are. They're there for a reason. They've been around for many, many, many years. They've always been a part of, I would say, human and non-human animal experience in life. So when we try to chase happiness at the expense of feeling unpleasant emotions, then we end up chasing it away. It's like happiness becomes elusive. When we put practices in place and we also recognize like sadness and grief and anger and betrayal and fear and distress, all of these things are also part of life. When we can embrace those, then it's like happiness becomes a little bit more prominent and kind of takes up a little more space than what it was when you were trying to shove this stuff aside. So that's the 5th thing, is just don't chase it. Put practices in place that you know will help cultivate it, but don't strive for it in such a way that you're cutting off this whole other half of life. You can't have light without dark. You can't have yin without yang. You can't have good without bad, etc. That's just the nature of existence. And I'm not going to turn this into some philosophical video. So again, 5 things. First is mindfulness or meditation. Second is social support, friends, fun, play. Third is altruism. Fourth is gratitude. And the fifth is not to go chasing happiness. Again, put things in place so that you are cultivating that feeling of joy, of life, of happiness, without striving for it in a Viking sort of way, that you end up chasing it away. So that's all for today. Questions, comments, feedback, obviously, or not, obviously, but I'm telling you right now, so leave them below. Subscribe to this page for more videos of the like, and if you want to shoot something directly to me, that's totally fine. You can reach me at Tara, T-A-R-A, at thecounselinghub.com. So have a fantastic day. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.